What's up, y'all? What's up? Welcome back to the Emperor Atheist channel with your host, the Emperor Atheist. Get right into it. First thing, I want to thank all my subscribers, old and new. Thank everyone for liking and sharing all of my videos and getting the information out there, because people need this information. We really do need to normalize atheism. And we need to fight against religious bullying and religious ignorance all over the world. That's just point blank. I mean, we can't really make it no clearer than that. Me growing up in the religion and me understanding and actually experiencing the indoctrination, the mental indoctrination, the psychological indoctrination, I know how serious and deep it can be and is for people who are still stuck in this mindset. So like I said, thanks everyone for sharing and liking my video and continue to spread the information. This is a new video, a new installment on my Bible is Bullshit series, starting with the story of the Tower of Babel. I know I have already spoken a lot of bullshit stories, mainly the Adam and Eve story and the Garden of Eden story, and how very illogical it is and irrational. Same thing with the Noah story. I've actually done 2 videos on the story of Noah. Got great responses from it, great comments. So I won't be revisiting basically those 2 stories, the Adam and Eve story in the Garden of Eden, or Noah's Ark fucking floating zoo, any of that, and talking snakes. I won't be revisiting those stupid stories. I got other stupid stories I'm going to add in this particular series, starting with the Tower of Babel. This particular story is very popular and probably still one of my top 5 dumbest narratives in the Bible. It's basically about the sky daddy God confounding or making confusion amongst people who basically wanted to unify. When you go to the story in Genesis chapter 11, starting in verse 5 and 6 and so on, they basically wanted to unify, to build a tower to so-called reach the heavens. But this omniscient God, this omnipotent God, he wouldn't allow that. He didn't want the humans to unify. He's totally against humans unifying and using their brain to do things. Of course, the God of the Bible don't like that. He's totally against that. So he came down and he wanted to confound the languages so they wouldn't be able to communicate. Therefore, the construction would have to cease on the tower. Now, this being an omniscient God, meaning all-knowing, surely he knew these people couldn't build a tower that could reach his house or his condo, wherever it is in the heavens. I don't know where the hell he lives at in the heavens. But also, him being omniscient, he also knows that in future, like today, for example, he knows that in Dubai, it has the tallest buildings in the world. Peachtree Plaza in Atlanta, the World Trade Centers in New York, Empire State Building, Sears Tower in Chicago. I mean, all of these will be considered towers. Hell, the pyramids in Egypt, in Giza. I mean, all of these are very tall structures. And not to mention the tall structures that we've built, and no one came down to confuse our language. God didn't get mad at these. And it's kind of funny. We even have satellites that are outside of the Earth's atmosphere. We have space stations. We have planes that fly all in and out. I mean, I don't get it. I don't know why this God would get mad then, knowing he knew the future, knowing that we would eventually build these things anyway. So I just don't get it. It makes no fucking sense. It's irrational. And it's very irrational for grown adults, intelligent adults anyway, to even think about it, to even think about believing in stuff like this in 2017. In 2000 anything, in 19 anything, you shouldn't be believing in shit like this. But yes, this story is basically in the Bible, Genesis chapter 11. And this God got mad, mad or whatever, but he wanted to confound the language of the people so they wouldn't build this structure. Now, this is the question I have to pose to intelligent Christians who still believe in this bullshit Bible. Do you actually believe, and this took place in this so-called land of Shinar, near Sumer, or what we call Mesopotamia. And before I even get off into that, get off into the origin of the word, Babel, which actually means in Hebrew, it means the gate of El, because as I've spoken before in some of my videos, especially debunking the black Hebrews, El is basically a Canaanite deity that was stolen from the Jews, black or white, whatever they want to claim, whoever the original Jews. But El is called, the Babel really means the gate of El or house of El. But in some instances, also the term Babylon, which means to confuse or confound, or to put in mental disarray, also means, you know, this is where the term Babylon comes from, which today we know Babylon to be modern day Iraq, okay, or Baghdad. This is basically Babylon, around that particular area. But the thing is, my question to intelligent Christians today, or religious people, whoever believe in this bullshit, do you actually believe? Because in today's world, we have about roughly about 6,500 languages that are spoken today, spoken languages today in the world. And I would say about, last time I researched, about 2,000 of those languages are spoken by fewer than 1,000 people. So we have about 6,500 languages in the world today. And the question that I want to ask is, do you Christians, intelligent Christians, actually believe that this story in the Bible, which makes no sense at all, was the origin of languages? And we will say, and as far as the chronology of the particular story and what we know about languages, what linguistic historians can tell us about language, because there's still a lot of hypotheses about languages. You have the mother tongue hypothesis. You have different hypotheses on how language started and how root languages started and how other languages stem from these particular root languages in different areas of the world. But the thing is this: we know that this particular biblical story, at least the chronology that we can get out of it, starting in Genesis 10, chapter 4:11, it says that it was during the day of Peleg when the world was divided. So Peleg was basically born about 200 some years before Abraham. So this will probably put us, according to the biblical chronology that we can get, the most accurate chronology that we can get, since the particular chapter right before the Tower of Babel story mentions Peleg, then we can say this is about 200 some years before Abraham. So this will probably put us at around, I would say, 4200 BCE, before Common Era. Now, linguistic historians know that languages was way before this, but they also know that it was not just one language before around 4200 BC. In other words, there were different languages long before 4200 BCE. So that right there alone kind of goes against what we know as linguistic history. The Bible, basically, story is a bunch of bullshit. But just on common sense and reason, are you telling me, and we're talking about the most popular language today, is basically Mandarin Chinese, spoken by almost 1.3 billion people in the world. Mandarin Chinese, and that's probably basically the next language I'm about to learn. About to get the Rosetta Stone soon on Mandarin Chinese. But are you telling me that all the language that we have today, or most of the language that we have today, was started in Shinar, around Mesopotamia? Now, this is the problem with this. No linguistic scholar today will basically agree to that and say that all languages was one and then split, even though linguistics have more of a problem than we would say evolutionary biologists do, because at least biologists and evolutionary biologists have fossils to go on, but linguistic scholars don't have any fossils to go on, but they have the intelligence to go on, and they have to have basically mathematics, and they go on the most evidence that they can get, the best empirical evidence they can get. But one thing they do know is that basically Asian languages, Mandarin Chinese, languages of the Western Indian, whether it be the Sioux Indian, Cherokee, those that were in North America, the languages of South America, these languages and the history of these languages do not seem to have a beginning way in Shinar or Babylon or Babylon. So this is a problem for people who believe this story in the Bible. But what languages do have in Mesopotamia, when you talk about the Sumer languages, or maybe languages of Semitic family languages like Hebrew, Arabic, Syriac, Assyrian, they do have a beginning point of those languages in that area, because those are that is the area where these languages are spoken. But other languages, all of the different dialects in Africa, and all of the different dialects in China, Japan, Micronesian islands, they don't have a history to have started in that particular part of the world and then sprouted out. So let's just scratch that off as bullshit. And this is another thing. I mean, think about this, man. The Tower of Babel. You're telling me that I have to go back to this just to make people think. You're telling me that a God will confound the languages, confuse them because he thought these people wanted to build a tower that could reach heaven. Now, he's all-knowing, right? This is what y'all say about the sky god, the sky wizard, that he's all-knowing. Well, he ought to knew that these people couldn't build a tower to reach his condo in the sky. I mean, it just wasn't going to happen. I mean, so for people to logically accept a story like the Tower of Babel seems to me, you know, that you're not using common sense, and that I mean, it's just a dumbass story. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. For people to believe in this shit, and you go into the story. The story is at this particular time it's surrounded by this leader called Nimrod, who they say was a mighty leader and a warrior, according to religious folklore and biblical folklore, other different things. But this story in Genesis 11 about the Tower of Babel makes no fucking sense. And it's one of those stories, man, that you basically read to your kids right after you read a Harry Potter story, or a Jack and Jill. If you want to get away from the old stories that we grew up on, like Jack and Jill and all of this type of shit, Go See Tiger, then you can actually replace those stories with the Tower of Babel story, because they make for good nightcaps and good, just crazy ass kiddie stories. But the problem is when adults still believe stories like this. It's a major problem. So this just was going to be my first installment on the bullshit Tower of Babel. I don't know why people believe this. I think I had something, man, in a link I wanted to share, man. This shit is really ridiculous. I don't know if I can find it, but I'm gonna put some links. I'm gonna put some links in the videos as far as in the original language and what the scholars say about the original language. No scholar, no real scholar or academic linguistic scholar mentions shit about no Tower of Babel, because they have more sense than that. And they know if they were to say some dumb shit like that, they probably would be kicked off the university campus, or they'd never be able to work again in their field, because they would just be looked at as being stupid. Like somebody going around and saying Elvis and Tupac still living. I mean, or Bruce Lee. It just don't make no fucking sense. We can't take you people serious. I can't find it, but I'm going to put it. I thought I had the link up. I really did. I thought I had the link right here somewhere. But I'm going to find a link. Anyway, I'm going to put the link in my video as far as what linguistic scholars say about origin religion and how their theories and the things that they know contradict the whole bullshit story of Tower of Babel. So basically, the Christians should have named their Bible Babel, because there's a bunch of babbling bullshit. Confusion. It's a bunch of confusion. That's probably what they meant to name it, Babel, instead of Bible. They should have named it the Holy Babel, because it is really holy bullshit. For those who are not familiar with the story, just go back and read the story. And this is really what a lot of Christians, especially Jehovah's Witnesses, oh my God, that might be one of the worst sects, besides the black Hebrew Israelites that walk around in Christmas-like suits. Besides the black Hebrew Israelites, the Jehovah's Witnesses are probably one of the worst Christian group. I mean, oh my God, they're terrible. And the Mormons. I don't know who I can say the worst, because there's a lot of them just bad. But for those who are not familiar, just go read the story of the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11, starting around verse 5, and just read it and try not to laugh, because it's a bunch of bullshit. It's like this God he hates human unity. He doesn't want unification with humans. And it's just something that's just kind of strange, for people to still believe in a God like this, who are so simple-minded to not understand that whoever these people were, they couldn't build a tower that damn big. I mean, regardless. I mean, it just shows you the immaturity and basically of ancient writers, of goat herders, and those who even before goat herding, before the Bronze Age and after the Bronze Age. There were writers during the Bronze Age, before the Bronze Age, and after the Bronze Age that were just ignorant of things that we know now, scientific things. So they made things up. But like I said, man, I didn't want to make this video too long. I'd like to thank all my viewers for watching my video. Thanks for liking and sharing my video. And just remember, man, the Bible is bullshit. The Quran is bullshit. All these stories are bullshit. But I just wanted to revisit on the Tower of Babel and show you how illogical it was. It made no fucking sense. And I'm going to put the verses of the Bible for this dumbass story in my link as well for those of you who might forget what I said. But once again, I am the Emperor Atheist. And like I say, thanks for watching. Thanks to all my trolls too, man. A lot of you trolls have been trolling my page, writing dumb shit, calling me all type of crazy names. I really love that shit. You just don't know you're giving me energy to continue to chop your head off. And I appreciate it because I'm going to continue to chop your head off. I got to do another video on the flat tires too, this flat earth shit. It's terrible that I got to do it, but I got to do it. Because something else came up with B.O.B. and a couple of astronauts that I'm following and that are actually following me on Twitter. They just straight embarrassing B.O.B. now. Dumbass rapper from Atlanta who said the earth was flat. But anyway, I don't want to get off subjects. But like I said, thanks again for watching. I'm the Emperor Atheist. I'm out. Peace.